Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today I will be telling you a story about the Iceman. Now, this story is more Native American than it is Texan or any other cultures. The Native American culture that had first created this story actually first derives from blizzards that came during the winter. Now, many of you guys might wonder, why did this story first come into existence? Well, the story goes from the very beginning of the Native American culture that ever since people have gotten lost in blizzards, they somehow ended up dying for no apparent reason. Now, this story does begin in the version of the epiclesis Oh My, or in modern American tongue, the first beginning of the Native Americans. Now, when the Native Americans first established their roots here in the Americas, they ended up in creating a new culture. And this new culture ended up creating a type of story about the Iceman. Now, the story of the Iceman doesn't begin until a frequent blizzard in history. This blizzard ended up destroying mostly an entire culture of Native American tribe. The tribe was so badly weakened it starved to death, and worst off, it never actually fully managed to come back from these events. Later on in history, there was only one person that survived, who later on was supposed to have died from a next type of month blizzard. This blizzard ended up destroying him and everything around him. He was never found. The body was stated to have been gone with the very ice that actually took control of the village. Many Native Americans even state that this story is mainly meant to guide you against this type of spirit. But to me, it's more of like a type of story that you just tell your kids not to pick up strangers along the highway or whatever. But let's get right into the details of the story. It's stated that to the Native Americans, if you were to see footprints in the very snow that lead to nowhere, you end up finding no one. Though the story also goes that these trail of footprints lead to this type of demonic person, though this demonic person would just seem like a regular human being, either in a form of a type of cloak that's powdered with snow, or as well on top of a horse. It depends on which cultural people you're talking to and the timeline. Though as well, there are many stories that are about this type of creature that even go as far back as to the very beginning and as well to the very colonial beginnings. I first heard about this story from my relatives in Iowa, who informed me about this story. They told me about it when they were first putting their kids to sleep, and I asked them what it was about. They told me that the Iceman story is a story that first began from Native Americans, and pretty much that it ended up escalating further on in time. The story goes that if you were to pick up a man near the highway, even if you're in your truck, do not engage him, otherwise you would end up pretty much in deadlock into a type of hypnosis state and led to your own death. Many people even speculate that this type of creature is an omen of death and would even technically bring the type of form of winter, since it's even stated that if you were to see what looked to be snow prints, the form of footprints in the form of snow, in the middle of spring, then that means a very early winter was about to come towards you and destroy your entire village. Though the story also goes that if you were to, in the process, talk to the creature, he would end up taking you to what looks to be a type of spirit world. Though for yourself, you don't realize this until you end up in the spirit world yourself. Many people were even stated to have actually been in a type of hypnotic state. This actually was seen in the 1938 Lost Boy Adventure. The Lost Boy Adventure was technically stated by a book, but never caught on sale. So the book pretty much failed in all aspects of story and truth. But in true story, it was based on true events. It was stated that a boy somewhere around the area of Montana got lost in a snowstorm, or so they state. But in truth, he was actually playing around with friends, and in the process, ended up meeting a man near a tree. Or people even state it might have been a younger boy. This boy, or some sort of spirit creature of any age, ended up having him follow him, mainly to a type of area. This area would have actually kept on going until they would end up finding him. Lucky for the boy, though, the parents actually managed to catch him before he went off on his own. Thing is, though, not many other people were so lucky. It's stated that a month or two after the person actually had disappeared, their body would then be recovered somewhere nearby, mainly where the very footprints had ended, with no sign of any attack upon the body, almost as though their soul had been taken right out of their own body. This story still terrifies me even today, and I technically wouldn't actually want to pick anyone up in the middle of snow. So, yeah. Or as well, anyone wearing cold winter gear in the spring. Now, there are other stories that some people have actually witnessed this person firsthand and have actually managed to escape from it. Though there are other stories that people actually have gone missing for over the years, and many Native Americans even state that the story is true to the very end. Though you wouldn't catch me actually going back in the past to prove this is real. Though some people even state that the story about the Iceman, or Ice Spirit, as many people would pronounce him as, is completely incorrect and was never even true in the first place. In truth, we really don't know. The story of the Iceman goes back through hundreds of times and has many, many types of iterations to it. In doing so, there are different types of stories that are behind it. Some people even speculate that upon reading the story that they end up going through a type of metamorphic state and are stuck in a type of death. One person, even recorded to have actually gone through this type of event, was stated to have ended up 3 miles from his home. With no winter gear on, he actually was stated to have walked right out of his home, and in the form of a blizzard. Somehow he managed to survive because of the morning sun that had arisen the night before. Though many people don't really realize on this terrifying story of it truthfully. The Iceman was actually first speculated to be a myth, but by the 1940s it actually started to emerge once more, and even further on in history. Some people even speculate that the Iceman is even recorded to actually be responsible of many people's death, such as if you were in the middle of winter. Though I myself don't really understand whether or not this is true or not, but pretty much I'm not crazy enough of picking up someone along the highway. So, yeah. But guys, if you want me to talk more about this story, let me know down in the comments below. Or as well, if you guys want me to talk about a story in particular of hauntings and such for this Halloween festival, also let me know down in the comments below, and I will get right to it. And as well, subscribe and like this episode. Thank you guys.